The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, Amazon, Audible, and a lot more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful lady who is an author of an exciting book, Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death and Beyond. She's also a founder of Power Places Tours and also a one-time RN and family nurse practitioner who is now retired, and she's been practicing nursing in the Los Angeles and San Francisco area. She's been doing it for 25 years or so. Also was in rheumatology practice and psychoneuroimmunology, and she basically just has a lot of great stories to tell and a lot of great experiences. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studio somewhere out west, ladies and gentlemen, the author and founder of Power Places Tours, as well as her new book, Theresa Dominguez Weiss. Theresa, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to being with you here right now, Mike.
Oh, it's great to have you as well, too. So you've been in the medical field for 25 years. You began as a candy striper at 16. You worked your way up into being a nursing guide and also an RN, also a family nurse practitioner. And you also founded Power Places with your husband, Dr. Toby Weiss. And you also wrote a book called Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond. And also you're a founder of Power Places. And you basically had experienced, death yourself and everything else. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started.
Mike, you're great.
Thank you.
Which part first got started?
Well, let's see.
Are you talking about life? You talking about death or beyond, or what part? The book?
Well, we'll get to the juicy part first, and of course a little bit better before that. But basically, how you got started in the medical field, say 25 years ago. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Actually, I have to admit it was a lot longer than that when I was 16. But I think I've always been drawn to the medical field. I always seem to have a natural empathy and propensity for that. But I think in looking back, because I've had this question asked to me, it has to. There was some impact there with my dad. He was a medic in the Korean War, and he had his little medic kit that he kept in the medicine cabinet. So when we got any boo-boos or cocos is a Spanish word for, when you get a cut, it's like a slang word.
Cocos.
Or a sore. Coco. Yeah.
Cocos.
Because I'm Mexican-American, second generation, and come from a very large family. I have 7 siblings, and I'm the oldest.
Wow.
So I kind of boil it down to the fact that here, whenever I had a sore or a coco, I would get one-on-one time with my dad, because really that was about it. He worked, 2 and 3 jobs, putting us all through Catholic private school. He went to college at nighttime to get his degree, and I worked for the LAPD. As a matter of fact, in 1948, he was the only Mexican-American, he's first generation, Mexican-American graduate in the LAPD graduating class.
Wow, amazing.
Now it's the exact opposite, But so back to your question, I think it planted some seeds, It's like, wow, isn't this interesting when I was a kid? And then went to become a candy striper, and it's like I just felt natural in that world. Talking to the old people, talking to the old men, talking to the ladies, having their IVs down there. Nothing. I didn't get freaked out by anything. Nothing ever, gored me out or anything like that. And then it was like I was on a mission. I would put myself through college because of having a large family. Put myself through college, working night shifts as a licensed vocational nurse, going to 2 to sometimes 3 local colleges simultaneously, because for some reason I was on this fast track internally to get my degree as quickly as I could. So I finally ended up at the UC Davis School of Family Medicine, and went into their nurse practitioner program. Was actually practicing as a nurse practitioner in a local Santa Ana barrio clinic when I had this experience when my grandmother died. And then in the early 90s, I left medicine to work full-time with the company that Toby and I founded back in the mid-'80s, Power Places.
Mm-hmm. And then tell us more about Power Places as well, too, and also some of the places you've been. How do you get on? And tell us more about Power Places. This sounds fascinating.
Well, Toby and I took as a nurse, you have to have continuing education units in order to keep your license, up to date. And it was in 1975, I saw this bulletin in the nursing break room that said, ancient healing methods for 30 units, which is what I needed, for the year, given by Dr. Toby Weiss. I go, oh, that sounds interesting. What is that? So anyway, went to Cal State Fullerton, took the class. It was like a revelation to me. he has his PhD in the history of consciousness, and he was teaching to graduate students and psychology professors and physicians and nurses an ancient healing technique of how to focus within yourself your own healing, enlightened energy, pouring it through your body and your hands to help affect healing in other people. And he and Dolores Krieger, Dr. Dolores Krieger out of out of the University of New York in the mid 70s were the only ones that were teaching this at university level, these type of techniques. And she was actually doing scientific studies on newborn babies and nursing students, where the nurses that were doing the laying on of hands on newborn babies, those newborn babies were actually having positive changes in their hemoglobin and their blood work, making them stronger.
Nice.
Anyway, that's like a whole different story. Anyway, kept on taking the classes, and then we re-met about 3 years later, and wow, something like really sparked there. We went on our first holiday together to the Mexican Yucatan, where the ancient Mayan sites are. Now you got to bear in mind that he had been studying metaphysics, already for like 20 years previous to when we met, and I'd already been on my metaphysical path for 10, 15 years already. But when we got to Cozumel, which is the ancient island of the goddess Ixchel, she's the grandmother and the creator goddess of the Mayans, something really fantastic was happening in the energy field. I mean, this is like way beyond a new couple going on vacation. I mean, this was like we were having inspiring dreams and inspirations, and the energy was phenomenal. I mean, the mystical energy was phenomenal. It was only at the end of the trip that we found out that this was the sacred island to the Mayans, and in fact at that time they really didn't even have the ruins excavated or anything, but we were able to find where the little hill was. At any rate, one of the last days we were swimming out there in the ocean, Toby said, "You know what, this is really a power place. We should bring our friends here, because then we get to come back." And then he goes, "Maybe we should get bunches of people together, and then we get to come back all the time." And I said, "God, Toby, that's an incredible idea." Well, that's where the term, so Toby had the vision and the inspiration for the term power places. It's a trademark term, and now it's a commonly used term for mystical sites and ancient sacred sites and nature sites too, that have a special feeling or mystique to them. Like, for instance, the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, Machu Picchu, the Acropolis in Greece, Stonehenge, places like that.
Wow, that is amazing. We'll talk more about the places where you've been, what they're like, and I love hearing these stories. Makes me want to go. But first of all, before I book my ticket, you listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, along with Apple, Amazon, and Audible, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with author and founder of Power Places and registered nurse and family nurse practitioner who's now retired, Theresa Dominguez Weiss, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about your book, I love hearing about this Power Places. And, you talked about what really influenced you, but I see all these just beautiful places. Talked about Peru with the mystical Machu Picchu and Tibet. And also, you know what fascinated me? I see in France, Mary Magdalene, the Holy Grail, and the Knights Templar. And tell us more about that.
Well, power places in general, like I mentioned, whether they're ancient and maybe some of them not so ancient, why do we consider the places in the south of France? Well, interestingly, unknown to most people in the U.S., there's a strong tradition and belief that Mary Magdalene, after Jesus resurrected, and then of course the disciples, the apostles, split up. Mary Magdalene came to the south of France, and they have a really documented tradition of where they landed and who the people she was with, and she actually died there in south of France, and we do have tours there sometimes where you go to the actual grotto where she spent the last years of her life, and of course, in that vein, the Knights Templar would honor her too as a divine feminine, as a sacred woman, just like they would of Jesus's mom, Mary. But yet the more ancient sites like Peru, like in Machu Picchu, which is actually one of the older sites in South America, the Mayan sites, the Chichen Itza pyramids, but certainly nothing is as outstanding or awe-inspiring as standing right there in front of the Great Pyramid. It just is, it takes your breath away. You can't help but feel the energy and the sense of mystical vibration that is still there so powerfully. And we, in the book Deathwalker, I do mention, I do write about the night that I spent in the Great Pyramid and the incredible adventures that I had in the 100% pitch black. You have to read the book to appreciate it. But certainly. And the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx are just two of the most wondrous, giant, fantastic, still energetic, alive temples that still exist along the Nile. As a matter of fact, if you only went to Egypt and only went into one of those, it would be the highlight of your life. I mean, that's what I have people tell me all the time on my trips, that they went on this journey as one person. And then they had so many changes and so many inspirations and transformation that when they came back, they were a completely different person. And that trip would be one of the highlights I remember, as they get older and they're getting ready to leave. It would be the highlight of their life. Which should probably take us to journeys of life, death, and beyond.
and you can say, yes, I met King Tut.
He didn't live very long, so he didn't have much to do.
I know, I'm kidding. I was just imagine walking with him, I'll tell you. Oh my gosh. You know what? My secretary right now is writing a check and booking a ticket. So I'm there. Right. Come join us. We'll do that. And besides your power places, you've been through Egypt. You talk a little bit about the Yucatan, Stonehenge, France, and more. And also Ireland too, which is really fascinating me. Healing stone circles and mounds, the keys to your soul, along with Bali, Japan, Israel. I mean, just fascinating sites. And tell us more about that.
Well, because Mike, there is a how do I want to say, a chain, a network of these places that were built with intention, whether it's from the ancient Japanese culture or whether it's from the ancient Tibetan culture, the ancient Egyptians, where the people were highly trained to be able to tap in within themselves to their higher wisdom, their higher self, or you could say their most divine self. And they had very specific techniques with how to do that. Especially the ancient Egyptians, you can see these techniques on the if a person understands the hieroglyphs, and the Egyptologist that I work with, he's like the world's expert in understanding this ancient secret knowledge. He's the only one, as far as the 40 years that I've been going to Egypt, who even has a clue about what that information is. But these ancients, no matter where that civilization was, Easter Island, South America, in Europe, like we said, Stonehenge, even the Gothic cathedrals. Okay, the Masons understood how to harness that sacred geometry inside themselves, their inner knowledge, in order to produce such beauty.
It is amazing too. And how can people find out more about power places?
Actually, they could go to my website, which is specifically geared towards trips that are connected with my book, and it's called TheresaJourneys.com. So Theresa and then Journeys with a S.com.
TheresaJourneys.com.
Theresa Journeys. So Theresa with an A and then Journeys, JOURNEYS.com.
We'll certainly look that up, and we'll talk about your book in just a minute. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking our budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, along with Amazon, Audible, and Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the author and founder of Power Places Tour, Theresa Dominguez Weiss, here on the Mike Wagner Show. She had been in the medical field for over 25 years before retiring and finding power places with her husband, Dr. Toby Weiss, and moving on over to her book, which is called Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond. You can just tell us more about that. This sounds like a fascinating book. What? Okay. Are you still with us? Hello? Hello? Are you still with us? Okay, Theresa, are you still there? Hello? Okay, looks like we lost Dr. Theresa Weiss here on the Mike Wagner Show. We're going to go ahead and reconnect, and we got right here. And Dr. Theresa, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we lost you for a second.
Okay. I thought the Egyptian gods were trying to come over. The evil ones trying to cut us off here. It's like, I mean, we're having such a great time talking here. It's like, what is evil spirits doing here?
there are no evil spirits. Actually, it's probably a positive thing with all that positive energy with speaking about those ancient sites in Egypt, you know? Especially you were asking me about Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond. Well, you know, Mike, I had an experience when my beloved Grandma Rosie died. I was extremely close to her. My mom and I spent the first 2 years of my life living with her and my grandfather, because as I had already previously mentioned, my father got called off to the Korean War. So there was always a really special connection with us. And so when my grandmother died, actually what happened was that I had visited her the day before, and I was at work the next day at the Santa Ana clinic I was telling you about, and I felt like I suddenly had to lie down or I was going to fall down. So I went to go lie down in this dark room, and the next thing I know, I'm flying to the hospital where Grandma Rosie was, like I'm Supergirl or something like that. I walk up to her room, and she's standing there, meaning my grandmother, looking down at her dead body. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then what I did is I took my grandmother to the first stop when you go to the other side, when you die. And then I came back. It was such a weird, I had never heard of anything like this before. I suppressed the memory for 17 years. I had no clue. All I knew when I came back to the clinic and woke up, I said, oh my God, something happened. I said, oh, Grandma Rosie just died. That's what I thought would have happened. But as far as what happened when I took her over there, my experience with her and the time that I spent in that beautiful place was completely suppressed for 19 years. And then I was running a conference in Crete. Interestingly, the theme was life, death, and beyond. And one of the and I started having these flits of memory starting to bubble up to the surface. And then one afternoon, I excused myself from directing the conference and went to my hotel room, and out came the chapter. Everything I remembered everything about what happened when Grandma Rosie died. And that was 21 years ago, Mike.
Wow.
What I wrote down And I decided to also write about the experiences that I'd had at transformational experiences that I'd had at power places, some of the power places like in the Yucatan and the Mayan sites and the Great Pyramid when I spent the night, and when I spent the night in Machu Picchu. I always kept I've always been a journal keeper. So I thought to myself, I felt this really need to write all this down. And I mean, to add it to the story about Grandma Rosie, death walking her to the other side. And, so I finished my book, including a couple of including other stories that I'd had experience around death. When my favorite patient, when I was 19 years old, she died right in front of me in 1 second. And, and how I can, how I process that, and how death can being around death can be a transformative experience. At any rate, so I wrote the book like 21 years ago.
Wow.
But I was too chicken. I didn't have the guts to put it out there. It was too weird. I didn't want people, with my medical background and my science background, and being a business owner, successful business, I really didn't want people to think I was some wacko schizophrenic. Mm-hmm. So for 21 years I let it sit around, and then finally this last April I got the guts and the courage to step up to the plate, and here it is now. Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond.
Oh, my goodness. I think that was well worth the wait, and you're talking about death walking and everything else. For some reason, it reminded me of that movie Coco. It's where you just journey back and trying to reconnect with the dead. It just made me think of that for some reason. And I said...
Well, Mike, there's a lot of good reason why it made you think of that. First of all, death walking are the other realities of existence. Besides our three-dimensional here, it's very common and very accepted in the Hispanic world, mm-hmm. And when I was growing up, and some of my favorite times, memories would be going to stay at Grandma Rosie's house, because, we'd be in the backyard doing her gardening, watering, and she'd say things like, and this when I was a little kid, she'd say things like, what is that bird saying, and she'd be singing back to the birds, communicating back with them, and she'd say, look at that flower, and what is it saying to you today? How is it talking to you? What is, did it have enough sun today? So from the beginning, it was natural for me that these other worlds of existence happen, and they were real, just like, if I touch my table, that's real. So I really thank my grandmother for that, because it has just made my life so much more technicolor and so much more exciting.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds exciting as well, too. You talked about your grandmother being able to talk to birds, and you also mentioned about having telepathic communications with pets as well, too. And I guess maybe some stories or, just some experiences. And I'm just trying to think that, if you like a cat walking in front of you right now, it's like, what would you say, or what would they think? Or maybe dogs. And do you think, pets with telepathic communications with you? I mean, this is like a really fascinating story about having telepathy with animals.
Yes, and actually, people with pets, I always say, I have this really long chapter in there about these two pets that I have this communication with, and at least 3 times when I was doing the rewrites, I'm noticing at least 3 times in that chapter, I keep on saying, but I'm not a pet person, and I'm not a pet person, But anyone who has pets, especially nowadays in this COVID reality, probably their relationship with their pet is the clearest, the most transparent, the most loving. During this COVID reality that we're in now, people are panicked, they're in fear, they're nuts. They don't know what's going to happen with their jobs, their relationships are falling apart, they're eating the wrong thing, they're drinking the wrong thing, they're not getting any fresh air. And so their whole reality, as they knew it and as they know it now, it's gone, it's dissolved, it's never going to come back. And in my book, I provide a sort of like a treasure map for recreating your own new personal world by going to the power place within yourself. And that would include learning how to trust your intuition, which we were just talking about with the pets. Trust your intuition no matter what. But it's hard to listen to that little voice inside. It's hard to feel your intuition right now in this moment, because our minds and our energy is so chaotic and so full of fear. So the first thing we have to do is we have to stop, be still, and just take some breaths in 3 or 4 times. And when you exhale, you pucker your lips. And when you deeply inhale and then pucker your lips on exhalation, it actually causes a cascading effect of neurotransmission changes in our brain that starts to bring us into a more relaxed state. So if we just stop for a minute, be still, breathe, then we can stay in the moment. But you can't stay in the moment when you're all over the place in your head, or when you got so much racket going on in your environment, you know? Mm-hmm. Once you stay and are in that moment of you're sitting in that second, then you can start to sense and get the feeling of what your intuition is telling you, no matter what's on the outside. I mean to say that and we do this all the time, our gut tells us one thing, but because we're so influenced by the person who's speaking something or by something that we're watching, we're going, we don't trust our intuition, or we don't trust that little voice. We don't trust our gut instinct. I have found through my whole life, but especially since almost getting lost in the Yucatan rainforest when I was looking for this Mayan temple in the area of Palenque. I wrote that in the book too. I could have died because I was surrounded by hundreds of miles of just pure raw rainforest. Could only see about 1 foot in front of me. And it was only my intuition. I mean, I was standing there with my brand New Balance shoes on, and I could only put 1 foot forward, bring the other one next to it, and then because the sun wasn't shining, so I couldn't depend on the sun for my compass, as I erroneously had thought at the beginning of my adventure. And I could only move literally one step in front of the other at a time. I'd have to stop, close my eyes, take some deep breaths, and then sense with my body and my hands which way to take the next step. And that's how I got out of the rainforest. And I vowed then in that moment that I would always trust my intuition no matter what happened. And for all those years, because that would have been about 25 years ago, I've only not trusted my intuition once. And I got to tell you, there was hell to pay for that. And I'll never do it again. But it was only one time. So it's like, but the thing is, when you develop your intuition and you start practicing it and really trusting it, your life becomes so much easier. It flows so much easier. Opportunities will open up. It's so freeing to trust your intuition. But like I said, no matter what is in front of you. So if you stop for a minute from the chaos of this COVID world, disconnect, be still, do that deep inhalation, and when you exhale, you pucker your lips up. You're staying in the moment. You're trusting and feeling your intuition no matter what. Then you're able to move into the power of self-love. This is the third point, the third wisdom I would share for this treasure map for recreating in our post COVID new world here. Now, why do I say the power of self-love? You know, everybody, we've heard from so many different people, the power of love does this and the power of love does that, which is really true. However, the reason I say the power of self-love is because when you unconditionally self-love yourself, self-love your own self, and you really have that power inside yourself, when you go to express that love in any way, shape, or form, there's no agenda of insecurity or ego trips that come up when you are expressing that level of love, because you're doing it from self-love. And with those three wisdoms, staying in the moment, trust your intuition no matter what, the power of self-love, this will be a powerful method and maps, I believe, to move into recreating a new personal world, but you go to the power place within yourself, and you're going to be making a new meaningful life for yourself, because the old one is not going to fit no matter how people are resisting it. Their old life is just no longer going to fit. Most of it is no longer going to fit, and we're all going to have to look to our higher creative self, our higher soul self, or whatever, divine self, whatever you want, maybe you want to get it, for creating a more meaningful life.
That is amazing. I mean, I am just amazed by what you have to say. It's like I'm ready to go those power places right now and take those all in. And what do you forecast for 2021 with all this going on here?
What do I forecast for the world, for Mike Wagner, for Theresa Dominguez Weiss, or what?
No, for the world in 2021. I need my coffee here. So what can we expect here in 2021? So what do you see?
Well, I remain extremely hopeful and optimistic. Okay, there's never in the history of the world have like 6.5 billion people at the same time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 10 months, been thinking the same things in consciousness. That has never happened before. That's like huge and giant. That's why the more that we can do as individuals to disconnect ourselves from the matrix, to disconnect ourselves from people, places, and things that would suck our energy, or that would not bring peace and calm within ourselves, that's going to be the challenge. And that's where I see what we're going to be going into 2021. First of all, once I think 2020 psychologically on December 31, that's going to be a release there for people, just from a psychological standpoint. But each person, to me, each person they can only control one thing, really and honestly and seriously. And I can only control what my reaction or what my action is to every given moment when I'm staying in my moment. And if I do that in peace and calm, and I trust in my intuition, then you know what? The next minute will take care of itself, and the next minute after that will take care of itself. I know that might sound simplistic, but really, we as individuals have to take that responsibility. And this is the hard part. And I hated this the first time I accepted it. I even wrote it in my book. The first time that I really accepted that I had to be 100% responsible of what had just happened in an encounter with someone that I really cared about. I had to take 100% responsibility, although my mind was saying, but wait a second, that was 100% him. If you go back to the history of our relationship, it's 100% him. But you know what? Until I accepted my action and my reaction was 100% my responsibility, I hated that. But once I accepted it, oh my gosh, life has become so much easier. We have to take internal responsibility, but this is where harnessing the power of our own divine wisdom within makes it so much easier.
And yes, it does indeed. And where can we find the book, Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond?
Well, actually, Amazon.com. It's on softcover and also on Kindle. You can also find it on my website, which is TheresaDominguezWeiss.com. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook and have a blog and a newsletter. And I'd love to hear from all you.
That sounds very good. Once again, author and founder of Power Places Tours, also a registered nurse and family nurse practitioner, retired, Theresa Dominguez Weiss here on the Mike Wagner Show. A very big thank you for your time. You've been great. Just love chatting with you as well, too. And what can you expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Theresa?
Well, I have 6 other books, but I haven't started any yet. I have 6 other books and 2 movie treatments that I plan on working on. The first book is with Toby and our dear friend Emil Shaker, who I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, world's leading Egyptologist, on understanding the ancient secret wisdom of the Egyptians. Toby and he always talked about writing a book together on ancient Egypt as they worked together for 30 plus years, taking groups throughout the ancient sites in Egypt. Toby passed 3 years ago, so Emil and I are going to be collaborating on that book. So that's on the horizon for 2021. And then, of course, he and I are going to be doing the tours together, too, to Egypt.
That's fantastic. I'm so looking forward to it, Theresa. I'm writing a check right now, so we're going to get on board here. So, hey, did you write that check yet? Okay, thank you. Make sure you send it off.
We'll check with your wife on that, Mike.
Sounds good. And the family, as well as the family dog and cat. So it's like they got to be involved. So
okay, all right.
And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
I would say that my parents and my husband Toby.
That is fantastic.
And their support.
Okay,
yeah.
And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice that I could give to anyone, if I would be so highfalutin to do that, the best advice: trust your intuition no matter what. Drink lots of water. Touch any type of nature that you can as often as you can during these times. And smile and say something nice to the person that irritates you the most.
That is fantastic. I'm doing so right now as we speak. I mean, you've been very inspirational. Once again, Theresa Dominguez Weiss, author of Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond here on the Mike Wagner Show. Theresa, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? And we can people check out your book and also check out Power Places and other ventures.
Thank you, Mike. It's been really a pleasure. And yeah, check out theresajourneys.com. I do have 2 trips for 2021 to Egypt planned. And like I said, we just, you know what, Mike? One more thing. We have to be gentle with each other.
Oh, that's important.
To be gentle and compassionate, but that's hard to do when we're not gentle or compassionate with ourselves. That's why if we stop, be still, and stay in the moment, we trust our intuition, and we start to develop that power of self-love, we then become gentle and compassionate for ourselves, and then it's effortlessly coming out of ourselves.
Yes, and I'm feeling it right now. Thank you very much, Theresa. Once again, Theresa Dominguez Weiss, author of Deathwalker, Journeys of Life, Death, and Beyond. A very big thank you for your time. You've been great. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on 2021 and beyond, and keep in touch, and I love hearing more of your stories.
Thanks, Mike. It's been such a pleasure. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, Custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.